When I think about the topic of challenging challenges, I have to say that the biggest inspiration that comes to my mind in my life is my daughter, Aisha. Aisha was born without an immune system and a life expectancy of less than 1 year. And we knew that the only way to save her was to have a bone marrow transplant that was possible only at the Great Ormond Street Hospital in London, and indeed a miracle that we had 18 fantastic years with my daughter, Aisha. Aisha writes in her book, pick the highest mountain to climb on and the dullest of the days to shine on. As the disease progressed, Aisha could no longer stand or even walk. So she was on oxygen almost 24 hours, carrying this little oxygen tank and trying to walk, finding it very difficult to go to school. So she had to drop out of regular school. But she was still determined to do something magical. So she started writing down all her thoughts, reflections on what she called a lifetime of emotions, just lying in bed, from living to dying, from love to anger, from hatred to forgiveness. The book got printed. It came to our house a day before she passed away. And the book came home, and Aisha was struggling to breathe, and she was gasping, and she was very, very weak, unable to open her eyes. I took the book to her and I said, Aisha, your book has finally arrived. Have a look. And she could not open her eyes. So I took her hand and I put her fingers on the title of the book, My Little Epiphanies. And she nodded and she knew that the book had been printed. In some ways, I think that was the purpose that she felt she had in this life.
Everyone's just fighting their own battles together, and we're all on a roller coaster ride. And mine's been going particularly down this year, and I've felt so stuck, and so writing this book has really uplifted me, and so I wanted my readers to find peace on whatever roller coaster ride.
Many people ask me, why did you become a chef? What's the reason? What qualifications? Where were you trained? I'm an illiterate and so proud of it. And I didn't even want to become a chef. When I was young and good Marwari girls, which Neha knows very well, I wanted to go to Wharton Business School and have my name on the Forbes 50 list, super industrialist, super rich, have 2 little assistants following me, and a pink jet plane ready for me to take off wherever. It didn't happen. I joined my father's business. I was 17-year-old. And it was a high. It was a super high because suddenly I was making money. I was traveling the world. Suddenly things were happening. And when you make money when you're young, I think it's a terrible thing to happen, because by the time I was 21, I had a little bit money in my pocket and I thought, okay, now it's time to retire. So what do? I will open a restaurant. I like to eat. I've traveled the world and I'm Miss Know-It-All. So I will open a restaurant and follow my guts. Stupid. That's when I opened my first restaurant, Mezzaluna. I was 21-year-old. And what a wonderful disaster that restaurant was. In long run, it worked because sooner or later, Vama worked. And soon we had Bryan Adams, Eric Clapton. Yes, I'm starstruck. We all know that. And the restaurant really worked. It was super. I really learned the thrill, the high of running a restaurant, but I was miserable. I was really miserable because I had to clean my apartment myself, no one to serve me breakfast in bed, walking to the tube station in 2 degrees, and most of all, I missed my driver. So next flight, I'm back home again. And that's how my beloved Diva started when I came back. What is this one thing that has kept me going? And what is this one thing that has always worked in my favor? Is I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anything. I was not afraid of opening my first restaurant. I was not afraid of running away to London when I was 23. I was not afraid. I'm not afraid of restaurants not working. I'm also not afraid how long this high will last. I think success is just not about following your passion, but it's also very important that you get rid of self-doubt, because you got to believe that you are the rock star, and believe me, you can do it.
1989 it was, and India's team had gone to play a test match series in Pakistan, and India was faring very badly. The second innings, India's score was 38 for 4 wickets. They were bowling so well that you couldn't even see the ball. You could only hear it whizzing past. And that was the situation when out came to bat a 16-year-old boy. He took his stance, and the first ball hit him on the nose, and there was blood oozing out. There was blood on the t-shirt, blood on the gloves, and this boy was flat on the ground. At the other end of the crease, standing there and watching all of this, Navjot Singh Sidhu says, I remember that moment very clearly. I thought at that moment, ye to gaya. And then out comes Dr. Ali Rani, India's physio, who's famous for having only 2, it's joked that he had only 2 solutions for every problem, tincture iodine or an ice pack. And he sees Dr. Ali Rani come out with an ice pack, and Navjot Singh Sidhu says, ab to ye pakka gaya. And Dr. Ali Rani comes, tries to fix Sachin Tendulkar, but he is beyond a stage that can be fixed. Blood is still oozing out of his nose. And Dr. Ali Rani says something very interesting to Sachin. He says, you know what? The 4 guys before you, they were out. They've gone back to the pavilion not to come back. But you're not out. Come back with me, let me fix you up. And then you can come back and bat. You can retire hurt. And Sachin looked him in the eye, and in Marathi accented Hindi, he said 2 words. He said, "Mai khelega." And Navjot Singh Sidhu, he couldn't believe his ears, so he rushes in anger and concern because he knows what is right for this boy at this stage. He puts his hand on his shoulder and he says, I think you should go back and get yourself fixed. And Sachin shrugs off Navjot Singh Sidhu's hand, looks him in the eye and says, "Mai khelega." And still bleeding from his nose, he gets up and he bats. And he does something that none of the 4 cricketers who went before him could do. He scores his first international half-century that day under those circumstances. And along with Navjot Singh Sidhu, he gets into a 100-run partnership. He saves the day for India. The Sachin Tendulkar that we hero worship and we call the god of cricket was not born 16 years ago. He was born on that day. Here's what I am saying to myself today. उठो कोलंबस, अभी तो बहुत दूर जाना है तुम्हें. दुनिया सारी जीत चुके हो. दुनिया सारी जीत चुके हो. दिल जीतना बाकी है. 7 समंदर लांघ चुके हो. दिल की सरहद बाकी है. उठो कोलंबस, अभी तो बहुत दूर जाना है तुम्हें. आसमान की ऊंचाइयां तो छू चुके हो. दिल की गहराइयों में जाना है तुम्हें. उठो कोलंबस, अभी तो बहुत दूर जाना है तुम्हें. Thank you.
Conference so far has just been an amazing learning experience. The speakers have been very interesting, and I think it's been amazing to see the different perspectives that have been shown so far. So, ranging from like a boxer to, and then hearing a rapper.
The human spirit is so amazing that you can pretty much get over anything actually. There's nothing that can mow you down. There's nothing that can stop you. The only thing that can stop you is really yourself. And I'm really happy to have a lot of kids here, young adults here, who I think, are going to go on to such amazing face amazing challenges in their lives. And I want them to know that when something big happens, it's not the end. Actually, it is the beginning.
I'm busy networking with these people, and I think you don't get opportunities like this elsewhere. And TED is abroad. I think we need more shift in India, and it's going to be the future.
It's an incredible event. If you look around, there's lots of people. They're enjoying a tea break. We've had some phenomenal speakers. They've talked about music. They've talked about dance. They've talked about animation. The thing with Shift is every year they get extraordinary people to volunteer their time to come here and talk to young people who care. It's a very warm audience. These kids are getting ideas in their brain that are going to make a difference when they get older to the kinds of citizens they want to be.